Rivals has arrived, and so has Alex Keary again, guest hosting again. You might be a permanent addition to Rivals.
Oh, or I might not.
Or you might not. If you had your choice, it might be not, right?
Well, look, I'm here in the building, so, you know.
I know. We're going to use you and abuse you.
Look, as long as you'll keep co-hosting Unrivaled with me on KSL Radio, then fine.
All right, we'll do that. A fair trade-off. The NFL preseason actually kicks off here on Thursday, which is today, and there's a new rule. And I don't see how this rule is going to even be enforced. It's almost like every play there's going to be an issue. So players leading with their head, whether it's an offense or defensive player, is subject to a penalty, to ejection, to fines, suspensions.
Yeah.
How can you do this? I mean, I don't. What do you? Does everyone just stand up straight and just kind of bump into each other?
I get that the NFL is trying to lead everybody else when it comes to this, when it comes to actually teaching the right way to tackle. Look, I've got my oldest son who's almost 10, going into his first year of full contact football, and I want him to be able to learn right, and I don't want him to put the head down and hit people like that. But if you look at it, it's going to be a sloppy go at trying to enforce this. People hitting the head on different. It says using any part of the helmet. I mean that's all over the place. Using any part of the helmet that ends up being kind of the first contact with a player is going to merit at least a penalty, and that's tough to enforce.
I'll tell you how you do it. You don't have helmets. You just don't have helmets. It's you don't have helmets. It's called rugby.
That's what I'm saying. Rugby's figured it out,
right?
In that way.
I mean, it's a very different
game.
But
then it's not American football, and I'm not asking that we go back and start hitting people like we used to, because I don't think that was healthy either. But I do think that it gets a little strange when we start to ask the players to do something that they didn't grow up doing, and then we say that we're going to penalize them and fine them after they grew up in a culture. This generation, even right now, it's in the NFL that's coming into the NFL. They were coached in a generation of, knocking guys out, trying to hit people as hard as you can, and having that mix between don't lead specifically with your head, but make sure that you can still get that big hit on somebody that'll knock them out or hurt them, and it's hard to get that out of guys. And
how do you have a running back run into the line of scrimmage, and not? I mean, how do you run without kind of having a forward lean? And there's going to be helmet to helmet contact, like on almost every play. I've seen some of the video clips of some of the plays they would consider,
yeah.
And you go, that there's no way, that's unavoidable. There's no way that you can possibly do it. I get that the NFL is trying to create a safer environment, and I really get that, and I'm all for it. I think of a lot of things that used to be illegal, like horse collars,
right?
And they realized how dangerous that was.
And that's easy to enforce, right?
And it's easy to enforce, and it's also easy to avoid. I mean, you can see guys now; they know as soon as I grab onto that, I just have to let go. I can't keep holding on. There were like the clotheslines and head slaps with offensive defensive linemen.
You also see guys make an effort to make sure to pull that head back and to lean with that shoulder to make the hits not onto the head, and they're making those efforts. But as soon as you start finding guys, taking their livelihood away, suspending them because you're asking them to play the most violent sport on earth, and now you're going to get nitpicky on what part of the helmet touches somebody first, it's going to be a weird way to enforce it. I'm interested to see the kickback on it already. We're already seeing it with the Chicago Bears. Roquan Smith, their rookie linebacker, is the 8th overall pick in the draft, Butkus Award winner last year in college.
Great player from Georgia.
He signed with a big chunk of guaranteed money and a signing bonus, and some of that guaranteed money is wrapped up in, and this is why he and the Bears are still at a standstill. He's the only rookie that hadn't signed, because he wrapped up in his contract was that if he was suspended for some of these new rules, that with the head contact he would lose some of his guaranteed money. And he's going, This is such a loose rule that we don't know how it's going to even be enforced.
It's unavoidable. I mean, there's just going to be situations that are unavoidable. You're absolutely right. You're not going to be able to enforce it. They're going to probably go overboard on it in the preseason like they do with every new rule.
And as fans, you're going to have to look and go, so is that one of the plays? I'm not really sure what's going on here. Why wasn't this enforced and this was? It's going to be a mess, I'm sure.
Now, one thing that people are talking about is the way defensive players tackle, and they're going to go more for legs and knees. And that begs another question, are you going to see more knee injuries? And there was a time when, it's a no-no. You can never touch the knees. You don't go there. You don't ruin somebody's career over this. And, players would prefer to get hit in the head than in the knees.
Right.
And I kind of feel the same way. I really do. I would rather not have my knees blown out and my career ended than to, have some – I'm not about the full-on concussion hits, but I think this is going to be a challenging thing to find a common ground and to really define what that, leading with the helmet actually looks like, and there's a consistent ruling on it, but by the officials, because it just seems so arbitrary and so vague. I just think it's one of those things they're going to have a hard time actually enforcing and coming to a conclusion with. Ronnie Lott, when asked about all this, he goes, how do you feel about all this? He just said, I just adapt to the rule and go play football.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably ultimately what's going to happen, but there's probably a lot of growing pains.
Well, that's what all these guys are going to have to do. I mean, especially if you're talking about money on the line, that becomes the new norm. These guys will have to adjust, and they'll do it because they want to get that paycheck.
I just want you guys to think about this for 1 second. Doesn't Alex look like Merlin Olsen? He just has a little bit of. Go look at Merlin Olsen and Alex Carey.
If I put a Little House on the Prairie hat on,
would
I look like
Father
Merlin
Murphy
Olsen?
right here? All right, Rivals has arrived now. It's time to go. You can text Rivals to 65537. You can go to all those social sites in that little corner and like us. And if you're smart, dial us in on your smartphone. Until then, we will catch you soon. Thanks for being here, Alex.
You bet.